3 longs, 3 shorts, and 1 long. Yeah, 3 was the number, and 2 shorts, and 1 long, one long. And it was just, 15 minutes to deliver to a dozen people there to start packing stuff out of the house. And they got everything out except one, I can't remember his name. It seemed to be like it was George Vaughn. Said he hollered at her, he cursed himself for not getting into that one room upstairs, that there was nothing taken out of it. All the rest of the house was clean.
Wow, isn't that something?
Cook stove, Pop said he looked in there at the cook stove. He had pipes going into it to heat the water for hot water. He took off to the shop to get the hacksaw. He cut the pipes. He'd come back. He said there was 2 guys on one end that churched it around this way, and then churched it the other way, and broke all the pipes and ready to go.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
The only thing they didn't get out was a dresser or 2 upstairs in that one room.
So is that when they built the new house where it's at now?
Built the new house in 1928.
Huh.
That was the same with Mary and I and Mom and Pop went back to New York City.
You did? That's quite a trip.
Oh yes.
That's because Hazel was back there?
Hazel was there and Aunt Maud was there. And that was Pop's sister. And there's a lot of them all the way back.
You went on the train, I suppose?
No.
No? The car?
Pop wanted to get a car that year. And he didn't have enough money for it. So I went to the president of the bank there in Fayette. Oh, I just about said his name, but anyway. He said, well, HB, he said, Pop went in and told him, he said, I was going to buy a car this year, but he said, I haven't got the money to. And he said, well, HB, you got a terrific crop of prunes out there. He said, why don't you go ahead and borrow the money? And gee, you had to borrow $700 or $800 to buy a car.
Seems kind of funny now, but I bet it didn't then.
It wasn't then. Anyway, he borrowed the money from Moss. Moss was president of the bank. And boy, he said, I sure learned something then. He said the prunes finally ended up that they was a good crop of prunes, but there's no price to them. He said, here I bought a brand new 28 Dodge 4-door, had roll-up windows. Oh, it was fancy. And anyway, he bought that. He said, I learned something then. And I've heard this different times that he learned something. When you go to buy something like paper, then, he said, don't, because the crop of prunes is good, but the price isn't any good. So he said he done a lot of stammering and wondering about how he's going to pay for the car.
Yeah.
Where was the road to American Falls the first night? And then we went into where she lived, this second night. Then we moved into some campground in Nebraska the third night. And then in Des Moines the next day.
Wow, that's pretty good. It takes us that long now.
That's right.
We don't go very fast.
What did it take us to one day
What?
when we went to Des Moines?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, we went to Salt Lake first. Then,
We went to Denver too,
we
but it
went
still only
to
took one
Denver
day.
first, and then into Des Moines.
You must have drove a long time.
The house that was built when it burnt down, after it burnt
We
down,
flew.
I understood that was a Sears and Roebuck house that was all pre-assembled, or pre-built, you had to just assemble it. Is that true or not?
Let's try that again.
Joanne Strawn said that the new house, the one that they live in, was Sears and Roebuck's house. But you told me one time that no, it was not.
It wasn't. When Pop got ready to start building that, he went down and hired Peck. Can't remember his name. Peck and Shank. And told me he wanted them. There were a couple of carpenters there for him. He says, I want to build a house. I want you guys to build it. He says, I'll help you. He went to Boise Pad Lumber, then further to Halleck, and told him we wanted a set of plans and for a house in Halleck, built it, and said, I'll have the outfit in Boise draw out the plans for you. They did. And the guy from Pad come out and he said, he looked at the plans and he said, if I can study these for a while, I'll give you a price on the house. Pop said, well, go ahead and study them. And he did. The next day or so he come out and he said, it'd be $3,500 to build a house. Pop said, it's too much. He says, I built myself cheaper than that. So he hired Peck and Shank. They started in building the house. They ended up, I think he had Laurel. Anyway, the whole thing come to around 2,800.
Wow, isn't that something?
And then when the freeway went through, why, they said something about they're going to tear the house down. Hunter says, what do you take for it? Well, they said, we'll take $1,500. I think it's $1,500 for it. Nick might tell you a different story, that maybe it was $1,500. Anyway, it wasn't very much. Clarence bought it and had it moved out there where it is. And though that wasn't sure the Roebuck house, that was all built all in lumber. I mean, yeah. It wasn't, anyway. It wasn't, what do you call it?
Prefab,
Huh?
prefab.
Yeah. And it was all the Boise Pad there in Fremont. And so I suppose you're recording all this.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at?
Me,
Yeah,
Fremont,
in town.
and
Who went to school at the old the schools out there today, or at Palisades. Any of the kids?
Well, let's see, there wasn't any.
Yeah, there was.
Okay,
There was one school called Pleasant View or something like that, do you know? Or was it River?
It was more towards Hingler's packing shed.
Well, there's one down by Schmidt's.
Yes, but there was a school that was just north of your
on
place.
Sunnyside, down
That was Sunnyside,
by
yeah.
Schmidt's.
There was a school north of the Strawn place.
Right, it was,
Right there about where the old Sturm house set at.
this side of the Sturm house.
Was it?
South. About 100 yards.
That'd be about right in the middle of the freeway then.
Something like that.
Sturm, that
That's
side of the freeway Sturm on, he's on the south side of the freeway.
On the east side. Yeah, south, no, north and east.
That Sturm's about straight south.
Did any of the kids go to school in that school?
Not that I know of. I don't know
Okay.
that. If they did, it must have been, it would have been Clarence or Lester maybe, I don't know. Myself, I don't really remember the school being there. But I was told it was, maybe I saw it, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
How'd you get back and forth to school?
Lee Brown school bus. No, wait a minute. First to start up this, Mrs. Frazier drove a school bus. She had a Model A truck with a box built on the back of it. I say a box, thing for school kids. Seats on the sides and seat down through the middle. Kids sat back to back in the middle, and then the ones on the side sat on, leaned up against the side of it. And that was the school bus. And then when Mrs. Frazier would ask me what her Lola? I don't know. That sounds good.
This is good enough for me.
It suits you guys, it suits me. I can't even remember which Frazier it was, but anyway, she drove for a few years. Then Lee Brown started driving a bus. And he had a Ford truck that he hauled 15, 20 kids or whatever there was. He built the box on the back. You went through the front door, the right-hand door, went there and back into the bus.
Approximately what year truck? Model A or Model T?
It was Mrs. Frazier had a Model T that she drove for a couple of 3 years, but when Lee got the job, well, he had a Model A or B, whatever it was, on about all 31, 2, 3. And he built the body for the back of it. And you could haul 25 or 30 kids.
Wow.
I know there was two or four or five different years that the church, Christian Endeavor kids, hired me to haul them to Walla Lake for summer camp. Well, yeah, but that'd sure be walking.
Oh, yeah.
It'd take him all day to take us up there.
I'll bet it would. Yeah.
When you were in like high school or junior high, did they let you guys out to help harvest the fruit in the fall? Do you remember doing that? When we were in school, why, a few times they let us out and we picked prunes and stuff that needed to come off the trees, and I just wondered.
I know when I was, of course I was out of school. I think I was probably out of school. We'd haul a bunch of bushel baskets out from town. And then I'd go around through the orchard with these bushel baskets on a slip or on a wagon. Can't remember whether it was on a slip or a wagon. And I'd put out so many baskets for each tree.
Oh, really?
I'd look at the tree and got 5 bushel of prunes on that tree. Take out 5 baskets, put them out there. It's amazing how close we could come.
So they picked and dumped them right into the basket? Huh.
Then Pop had a Model 8 Ford truck, and he hauled the prunes to town after so many was picked. Gee whiz, he hauled 25 baskets to 25 bushel on that truck. That was a lot.
Approximately how much did each bushel weigh?
Say what?
Approximately how much did each bushel weigh?
Oh, probably 35 to 40 pounds, around 40 pounds.
Probably about the same as the wooden box.
Yeah.
About the same.
Yeah, the wood box ended up about a bushel, just about the same.
So those baskets that you picked them in and hauled them into town, I had a few years where I ring-faced the prunes. Did they just use those same baskets and then just put the ring face on top of them? Or did they do that then?
Mostly the ring face was on the half bushel, wasn't it?
I don't know, I just remember, well, it could have been, because they weren't that big. I bet they were. I bet they were more about that size.
Prunes more were shipped in the half bushel. And then I also had a little box about so high, and I think it was a half bushel. Wooden box.
Oh, really? Huh. About half the size then, about a
Yeah.
half bushel.
Not so high, and I thought like that high. So long. I think most of the prunes was shipped packed in the half bushel.
Probably because they would squish too bad, wouldn't they, if they, you know, when they started picking in the big bins. I thought I'd never get a bin full. You know, because the hotter, the longer in the day, they just settle down and you couldn't hardly get a bin full of prunes.
And what did the prunes at the very bottom look like? Mush?
They probably were
Probably.
not good. Do you ever work in the packing sheds?
No, I don't remember ever working in the back. No, yes, because for a long time we packed our apples in the shed in the storage. The storage was down underneath, or in a cellar. You know, I say a cellar.
Like a dirt cellar?
Yeah, is that one still there, Dick's?
No. So they caved them all in.
Oh, the heck. But anyway, for some reason or other, Pop decided he wanted to store his apples at home. And he's shutting it off, I hope.
No. Yeah, it's off.
So he went up to Cabart, which is up there in south of I think it's south of Cascade, and cut enough holes to build a storage. That storage must have been 120 or 30 feet long. Then the poles in the back end were put there to hold the poles across the top of them. Then they put, he cut poles to start from the center to go to the, or from inside of the storage out to the rafters on the outside. Had all those poles. Then I can't remember whether there was one or two carloads of poles that he loaded on up there at Cascade and shipped them down to Fruitland. Then they hauled them from Fruitland to, I don't know whether it was from Fruitland or from the railroad track along or someplace. Out home there, he built his storage. He had the uprights, I think it's what, 8, 9, 10 feet high.
Yeah, at least 10 feet.
That's what I was thinking, around 10 feet. And then rafters from there up to, I think he had up to the center poles. Not the center, but 20 feet, 25 feet. Then they fit on another set of poles up there. And then they got all this all put together. They put bone wire over it and put straw on top of that. And started piling dirt on it. The dirt must have been, at least 12, 14 inches deep when he ended up. And it seemed to me like it was 2 or 3 years later that fires went. So they got the pole and built Clarence's small storage. But it was, Clarence had one there for a long time, but mostly it was onions and fruit, garden produce that Clarence wanted it for. And then he'd go down there in the winter time and sort the onions and the potatoes and stuff such as that. Then haul them to Ontario and sell them to
Oh,
Ontario.
really? We had one at our place, but it was, we called it a root cellar, and it was for our food, you know, and I remember that, and had potatoes clear across the end, and then we had cabbages and carrots and
Yeah.
sweet potatoes and everything, and I think didn't they put it in like sand or sawdust, whatever we had, but I remember we had to dig them out of the sand sometimes.
Well, this, Pop, after he got the storage, he started to hauling the apples in boxes into the storage, storing them in there, baskets, boxes and then baskets.
Really?
And he'd store them in there along in the winter time sometime when you got time to do it, time to sell them. Then he had it pretty well sealed off to where it was warm in there. Wasn't warm, but it was kept them from freezing.
Right. Huh.
They were very active in the Grange.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they I think all the Granges in New Plymouth. They like I say, they were very active. They was always going to Grange. He was president of the Grange for several years. Mom is usually secretary.
Do you remember any of your grade school teachers? Who'd you have in the first grade, do you remember?
Rena Jinks.
So she was there then. That was Mrs. Downing, right? Later?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see, I had her as Mrs. Downing.
That was Mrs. Jinks?
Yeah.
The heck. Rena Jinks and Mrs. Bowman was a second grade teacher.
Mrs. who? Mrs. who?
Bowman.
Bowman, okay.
He was the guy that run the post office, Logan Bowman. Logan Bowman was his name, and he run the post office there in Fayette.
Do you remember any of your grade school teachers? Who'd you have in the first grade, do you remember?
Rena Jinks.
So she was there then. That was Mrs. Downing, right? Later?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see, I had her as Mrs. Downing.
That was Mrs. Jinks?
Yeah.
The heck. Rena Jinks and Mrs. Bowman was a second grade teacher.
Mrs. who? Mrs. who?
Bowman.
Bowman, okay.
He was the guy that run the post office, Logan Bowman. Logan Bowman was his name, and he run the post office there in Fayette. She was a second grade teacher. The third grade, I skipped that. And
Why did you skip it?
so smart.
Good for you.
That's a good reason.
I lost it then. Well, they figured I was smart enough to not. There was Lloyd Hall, Eleanor Fritzel, and I can't remember, there's 5 or 6 of us. Skipped the 3rd grade, went into the 4th. And I can't remember who that 4th grade teacher was. No, let's change the 2nd grade. But there was a
What was Hazel Covington's name before she married Covington? Wasn't it? They said she taught school. Do you remember what her name
No,
was?
I don't.
I was thinking it was someone that sounded kind of like Bowman or something. They, Jack Graham was telling us that she lived in that house, I think. Anyway, they're close where Covington's eventually lived. That her parents lived there somewhere, and then she married Covington.
Was it Bosun?
Yes, yes,
Ah, that's
Bosun.
it. Yeah,
yes.
B-O-S-S-E-N.
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. She hadn't thought of that for 90 years. That's telling my age, isn't it?
You graduated from high school, right?
What year did you graduate?
Is it 36? Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Probably.
I
That
think you
should
told
be
me it was 38, Ross.
38.
Huh?
38?
I think you told me it was 38.
36.
We can look it up in the annual.
You can or you can take my word for it.
Okay.
I'll take your word.
But don't ever take his wife's word. That's wrong.
Well, what did you do for fun when you were kids? Nowadays, kids get in trouble if they try to have some fun.
We had lots of fun, but mostly swimming. In the summertime, just ride the swimming wheel, water wheel.
I was, okay, I want to hear about that because I've heard that that's sometimes what they did, rode up and over and,
No, right up. You get up here to the top, dive off into the water. And just go riding over it.
you're gonna get caught, yeah.
It gets kind of rough.
We've got pictures of the water wheel there by where your folks, by where Dick lives now.
Mhm.
It's all gone, but it was there for a long time.
That was the big wheel.
Yeah.
This is where Dick lives.
Uh-huh.
The little wheel was down closer to house. And,
I miss the water wheels.
Yeah, me too.
I just,
Harry Taylor had a water wheel over there. Oh, I don't think Lee Brown did. Herb Holman, I think, had a water wheel.
do you know why they did away with the water wheels?
I figured it's a lot of expense to keep them going,
Was it more expensive to keep the water wheels going or to pump the water?
I guess that'd be a matter of opinion, but it's simpler to pump it. But I don't, it didn't, every year Pop would go down and work on the water wheel, put in new boards and new, once in a while you have to put in new buckets for the sides. But
Did he have to put in boards because you kids rode them?
they just broke or wore out or whatever.
Rotted out.
It had nothing to do with you riding it?
No,
Oh.
no,
Okay.
because we get in the center of the wheel and ride up there and then, swim up to it. And then reach up and get a hold of the two before about so long, between paddles. Get a hold of that one and then step on the next one and ride it up. We'll ride up there just pretty close to the top and well, depending how brave or stupid you was. And then you'd stand on that paddle that you was on, dive down into.
So the canal must have been pretty good size then, lots of water in it.
Oh yeah, that wheel was probably 12 foot across, or 12 foot wide. And,
Yeah, I guess I might stick in that.
So that you not your page,
Well, page has been pulled over and stuff.
yeah, that's not good.
I think it's 12 foot wide and about probably 15 at the highest. It was probably 15 feet high.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was big then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now there's another little story that you have told me that you used to do to have fun.
Huh?
Huh?
There's what?
Another little story you used to tell me that you had fun doing.
I was probably lying to you.
Probably.
Do you remember what it was?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
About what?
about tires. About tires.
Oh. Yeah, we
Now,
did.
see, he remembers.
You know, you see a tire hanging on the side of the road. Anymore, you see a tire hanging on, you keep right on going. We'd go from our place down, about to work for Outlaws with it. And anyway, past the road and past the junction a little ways. Take a tire and put it out on the road. Lots of weeds along them. So you hide in behind those weeds. Take a wire and put on that tire. And lay it alongside of the road. So that it was in plain sight. Cover the wire with gravel, get back up in the weeds, hide up there. Somebody come along and stop and pick up that tire, and about the time they reach down and pick up the tire and hit you. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, they put out a pretty good tire. And I can't remember who it was come along and stopped, and they stopped with their car tire right on top of that tire. So when they got out there, we couldn't jerk.
you can sure get
That way we got to where we put out old tires weren't any good.
You know, I know that you guys were a lot braver and had a lot more fun than, you know. I remember my dad, he went to school, he graduated from Parma. And when I was in high school, he said, I'm gonna tell you guys something, I don't want one of you guys ever do this. Told us how they climbed up on the water tower there at Parma and painted a great big thing on the water tower. I don't want to ever see. When you guys do something like that.
It's too stupid, don't do that.
So what'd you do in high school?
What, baseball, basketball, very little football because the folks was afraid we'd get a broken leg or playing football. Several of the guys get break, broken leg or break an arm or something. And, played football. But anyhow, I never got to play football until about the senior year. I got to play in a game when I played tournament. That's the only football I ever played.
How'd you go back and forth to games?
Huh?
How'd you go to the games as a team?
Cars.
Cars?
So when did you buy the place that you had on out here? Or was that your first farm, or did you farm before you?
Oh, I farmed, over on the Oregon side, Frank Gerben's place. Farmed that, 5 or 6 years. Then over on Dewey Davison's place on the Oregon side. And, farmed that about 4 or 5 years, and then I got a chance to get this one up here, little Lacey place. 120 acres up here. All the one over on Frank Ribbon, I think was 40 or 45 acres. Dewey Davison was 70 acres. And then I got a chance to buy this one of Lacey up here. Oscar Lacey, that was his name. Bought it and farmed it till I quit farming.
Do you know about what year you bought that place?
Lacey,
Around
50 something.
54, 5,
That's what I was thinking, around 50,
long in there.
54, 55.
Early on, and you lived in Weiser, up there along a canal bank or someplace, I can't remember where. You drove truck. You hauled, I went with you one time, you hauled a load of cement. We went up to Huntington, picked it up, I spent the night with you guys, and
Wait just a minute now, wait a minute. Taylor was the guy who owned cement for out of Huntington. Taylor was
early on, and you lived in Weiser, up there along a canal bank or someplace, I can't remember where. You drove truck. You hauled, I went with you one time, you hauled a load of cement. We went up to Huntington, picked it up, I spent the night with you guys, and
wait just a minute now, wait a minute. Taylor was the guy who owned cement for out of Huntington. Taylor was the guy's name, but I was just driving truck for him. But I can't remember when that was.
I don't know the year either. I know we,
Melvin Taylor, that I drove truck for, drove cement truck for. Out of, we haul, it was a semi, hauled 212 sacks of cement. We hauled it to McCall
yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, that trip I made with you is where we went to with McCall. I don't know why I happened to be with you.
Didn't want to walk.
Well, that's true.
So when did you quit farming?
When did we quit it?
Well, you rented it out for, what, 5 or 6 years? something like that and couldn't get a decent renter, so. And then his back was getting so bad he couldn't bend over to set the water and stuff, so he had to
But you don't remember what year it
It
was?
was in,
It was
the late 70s or 80s, early 80s,
Okay.
along in there.
What's the story behind this Seattle Mariners baseball?
He used to, he used to play baseball here in Leisure.
Semi-pro, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Oscar Daffer was one of the coaches. And his daughter, was jarring me about this playing baseball with her dad. And she says, I've got, her daughter was it? That was,
Lives up there in around Seattle somewhere.
yeah, but on the other hand, they're down in Texas someplace or something like that. Anyway,
Or Arizona, where they were practicing their spring
spring practice.
Ooh,
Phoenix.
okay.
spring practice,
Somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
And
wherever it is.
she got this for Seattle Mariners, that's who it was spring practice. So her daughter and her husband go to watch her spring practice. And they picked up baseball, they picked up all other stuff. From spring practice. And she brought it up to me and gave it to me. Because this was one of the spring practice baseballs that they used, the Seattle Mariners used.
So when you farmed, what crops did you raise?
Sugar beets was the main one. Onions, sweet corn, hay and grain. Always milked about 10, 12 cows. And that was twice a day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
How long did you live out there on the home place in that little house? Yeah, probably when you and May were first married, I'm guessing.
Yeah. About 4 or 5 years. 3 or 4 years, something like that.
What did you do, farm the place there then, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I farmed the place at the time and worked with Clarence, and he and I we'd hay together and pick sweet corn together. At picking sweet corn, you can go in and take a wagon and put boards on the side. Get the horses started up through the row or through the field. And after down there, picking that sweet corn, throwing it on the wagon all the time. And get a load of corn here on the wagon, and take it in at the house, and you take a whole, everybody gets on the wagon and start throwing it on the truck. You throw it on the truck till get the truck loaded. And haul the truck to Fayette, or take the truck to Fayette. Idaho Canning Company. And I don't know whether that was Idaho Canning Company or whether the Idaho Canning Company was at Fruitland.
Now, it was paying,
They had
the Berlin was Berlin County.
Fruitland Canning.
Yeah,
Chet done a lot of work there.
yeah, Lee Brown was there, I think was one of the instigators of it. I wouldn't doubt what CR was in it somewhere too.
Probably so.
So when you picked corn by hand, how long did it take you to pick an acre?
We didn't pick it by the acre, we picked it with till we got through.
Okay, that makes sense.
There'd be probably 2 to 3 guys, about 4 or 5 picking corn to a wagon. So you just grab it, jerk it, throw it on the wagon, and you get I have no idea.
Would anybody like a glass of lemonade or cup of coffee?
I'd like a glass of lemonade, yes.
I would too, please.
Do you know when your folks came out, did they come directly from, where was it, Iowa? And they came right to Fruitland?
No, I can't.
They came to Payette.
Um,
Do you know why they came out? Did you ever hear why they made the trip?
Yeah. Gravel's parents were, Gravel's parents had come out earlier, they're the ones that got him to come out, wasn't it?
let's try that again.
The slinkers had already come out, and then it was so wet that spring that Grandpa couldn't get into the field, and then they had a really bad cold spell, and the planter froze in the ground. That's the story I have at home.
That's good enough. I never did really know why they came out, except that I just figured they decided it's time for a change. But I do remember now that the slinkers were already out here. And him and up at Alec, where they came out first, did they?
I don't know who came out first, but your Grandpa Levi met them at the train depot.
Grandpa Levi. I thought Levi was a brother.
No, Grandma's mom was Levi.
Gravel's dad.
Or dad. Grandma's dad was Levi. Yeah. And that's who our grandson is named after.
Oh. They ended up in Fayette. And Pop got a job in the cannery, or in the dryer. The Fayette. The dryer at the time, I had no idea was it Apple or...
Apple.
Was it? Right where the north end of the overpass starts. Right back there about, maybe 50, 60 yards is where it was. He worked there the first year. Worked there to dryer. I'm not going to say how long. Then he decided to buy a farm. You heard about this one out there? Does anybody know what the name of the guys were that they bought the farm from?
I think that I have it at home on the old court records. But I can't remember just what.
There's a couple of boys.
I went to the courthouse and got the old deeds, copies of the old deeds.
Oh,
Did it have fruit on it when they moved on?
I think it did. And I know when, Roger, what did it say in there about his pastry strong and his apples? What year was that? Back and look up.
Do you remember a Baptist church in Fruitland that looked a lot like the Brethren Church, a brick Baptist church?
What year was that? Back and look up.
Do you remember a Baptist church in Fruitland that looked a lot like the Brethren Church, a brick Baptist church? Somebody gave me a picture of the Baptist church, and I can't even imagine it. I don't know where it was, or because it looks a lot like the Brethren Church in the picture, but they say no, because this is all different. It was the Baptist.
I'll tell you, the Methodist church was about the only one I knew anything about.
Yeah, me too.
What do you want to know, Ross?
What year do you make so much money on these apples?
Maybe we should have brought this in. But take a picture.
Doesn't say.
Well, it might be what I did.
I want it right in front of your picture.
That's all right, we'll have a picture of your
I'll say, I know that lady.
You've got a
Thank you.
misprint in here though, but
Did what?
so they got a misprint for saying that that was Fayette County at that time, and it wasn't Fayette County,
Wasn't it?
Canyon County.
What time?
Nell and Grandpa moved there to Fruitland.
Bet that's what I have a copy of. This is good.
Thanks.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And which grandpa moved in from?
Grandpa Strawn.
Oh, when did they do that? About 4 or 5, 6 or 7.
Oh, and they moved into town?
I've got that at home too. When you come from the slope and go into Payette, and you just start up over the overpass, your Grandpa Levi's house is still right down there. There are 2 big old houses, and his, I think, is the second house
Second from what?
as you start up over the overpass, from the end of the overpass.
You know, Uncle Kurt used to live in that house. And to get to his, where he lived, you go up that staircase. And I mean, it was steep.
It still is. You see that from the road.
Did what?
I can see that from the highway.
But you said it's the second
I think it's the second.
from the north end
Uh-huh.
of the overpass.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was down in the next block. That she'd come to it before.
Because we've got a picture of it at home, and we've looked at it, and then we've looked at the house, and
That's it.
Yeah,
I
Can't
remember.
mistake it that way.
it still looks pretty much the way it did.
I know Uncle Squirt lived there for quite some time.
Uncle who?
Uncle Squirt.
Squirt.
Who was Squirt?
Uncle Kurt.
Oh.
I remember going up that steep steps. I mean, you just about got on your hands and knees to make it up those steps.
Do you remember anything about Grandpa Levi running for mayor of Fayette? He did. Got in three-way race and come out third.
That was a good thing. Good thing it wasn't four race.
Yeah. I forget now, he was running with some off-breed party. I can't remember what it was, but it took me a long time to find it.
What, who's buried out there? Is it Levi and her?
And Eustace and Cora and
Yeah, that's just Nicora.
and baby Helen, Lorene, and there's another one.
At least.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 8 graves up there. And there's quite a few plots that were bought, but nobody has used them. And we found Lorene or Helen a couple of years ago, and then Roger and I bought a stone for her grave.
Who was that?
It was Eustace's daughter. She was born early, I don't remember if it was February of 1911, and she died in November of 1911. And we had the stone put in there 100 years after her death.
Uncle Estes, he lived south. There's Estes, and then there's Cora, of course, Slinker, and Eunice Slinker. That lived on south of where we lived up there. On the park.
Oh, okay.
And that was like aunts and uncles or cousins or what were they?
Estes was Mom's brother.
Was there a James?
Or was it Curtis James?
Must have been Curtis James.
Okay.
I think so.
George found 2 graves up on the northwest end of the cemetery, and we found some that were a little farther east of where George found them. And then your grandma and grandpa are buried farther east than that. And there's somebody else that's buried beside your grandma and grandpa, and I can't remember who's there.
What year was that? Back and look up.
Do you remember a Baptist church in Fruitland that looked a lot like the Brethren Church, a brick Baptist church? somebody gave me a picture of the Baptist church, and I can't even imagine it. I don't know where it was, or, because it looks a lot like a Brethren church in the picture, but they say, no, because this is all different. It was the Baptist.
I'll tell you, the Methodist church is about the only one I knew anything about.
Yeah, me too.
What do you want to know, Ross?
What year do you make so much money on these apples?
Maybe we should have brought this in. But take a picture.
Doesn't say.
Might be what I did.
I'm gonna write in front of your picture.
That's all right, we'll have a picture of your behind.
I'll say, I know that lady.
Got a
Thank you.
misprint in here though, but
Get what?
so they got a misprint. They're saying that, that was Fayette County at that time, and it wasn't Fayette County,
Was it?
Canyon County.
What time?
Nell and Grandpa moved there to Vermont.
I bet that's what I have a copy of. This is good.
Thanks.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Which grandpa moved in from?
Grandpa Strawn.
Oh, when did they do that? About 43, 4, 5, 4 or 5, 6 or 7.
Oh, when they moved into town?
I've got that at home too. When you come from the slope and go into Payette, and you just start up over the overpass, your Grandpa Levi's house is still right down there. There are two big old houses, and his, I think, is the second house
Second from what?
as you start up over the overpass, from the end of the overpass.
You know, Uncle Kurt used to live in that house. And you get to his, where he lived, you go up that staircase, and I mean, it was steep.
It still is. You see that from the road.
Did what?
I can see that from the highway.
But you said it's the second
I think it's the second.
from the north end
Uh-huh.
of the overpass.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was down in the next block that you'd come to it before.
Because we've got a picture of it at home, and we've looked at it, and then we've looked at the house, and
That's it.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
Can't
remember.
mistake it that way.
it still looks pretty much the way it did.
I know Uncle Squirt lived there for quite some time.
Uncle who?
Uncle Squirt.
Stewart.
Who is
Oh.
Wirt?
Uncle Kurt.
Oh.
I remember going up that steep steps. I mean, you just about got on your hands and knees to make it up those steps.
Do you remember anything about Grandpa Levi running for mayor of Fayette? He did. Got in three-way race and come out third.
That was a good thing. Good thing it wasn't four race.
Yeah. I forget now, he was running with some off-breed party. I can't remember what it was, but it took me a long time to find it.
What, Who's buried out there? Is it Levi and her?
And Eustace and Cora and
Yeah, that's just in the corner.
and baby Helen, Lorene, and there's another one.
At least.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 8 graves up there. And there's quite a few plots that were bought, but nobody has used them. And we found Lorene or Helen a couple of years ago, and then Roger and I bought a stone for her grave.
Who was that?
It was Eustace's daughter. She was born early, I don't remember if it was February of 1911, and she died in November of 1911. And we had the stone put in there 100 years after her death.
Uncle Estes, he lived south. There's Estes, and there's Cora, of course, Slinker, and Eunice Slinker. That lived on south of where we lived up there on the farm.
Oh, okay.
And that was like aunts and uncles or cousins or what were they?
Estes was Mom's brother.
Was there a Jim, a James?
Or was it Curtis James?
Must have been Curtis James.
Okay.
So,
George found 2 graves up on the northwest end of the cemetery, and we found some that were a little farther east of where George found them. And then your grandma and grandpa are buried farther east than that. And there's somebody else that's buried beside your grandma and grandpa, and I can't remember who's there.